What we need to understand is that TMJ misalignment is an issue once there is chronic dysregulation of the nervous system. Hello and welcome to Hope for Dystonia. My name is Shmuel and I am the creator of the Hope for Dystonia Self-Healers Academy. I created the academy because, in simple terms, I got my life back and so can you. The Academy is a powerful place for healing and transformation in a way that is revolutionary, not offered anywhere else. And part of what I want to do with this channel is to empower you with knowledge that really busts some of the myths out there around dystonia. And I want to talk to you today about a topic that is really trendy for a lot of people, and that is the connection between TMJ and dystonia. On the channel, I have a bunch of videos already on this topic, so you'll see broad overviews of the link between TMJ and dystonia. You'll see simple practices that you can explore that help you understand where your nervous system wants your jaw to be, so that you can build the support that you need. You'll see all kinds of important things. And today I want to talk to you about really the one thing that nobody tells you when it comes to the link between TMJ and dystonia. Make sure to stick around until the end, because this is life-changing information that can change your perspective on everything. So I want to mention as well that if you're on a healing journey, whether the TMJ is a part of what you're working with or not, you should definitely click on the link in the description below, because it leads you to your free dystonia recovery kit. It is, again, information that you won't find anywhere else that can completely change your recovery journey for the better. So go ahead and click on that. It's completely free. Now, for today's topic, the one thing that nobody tells you about the link between the TMJ and dystonia is that really that is just the most evident branch of a tree whose roots have been challenged for seasons, if we want to be a little poetic, and to quote a famous healing prayer. So what does that mean? A lot of people tend to think of the TMJ and the misalignment there and the malocclusion and so on as the cause of dystonia. It is true that it is a really powerful lever, right? It's a point where you can apply leverage and begin to realign the body. And it is true that very often misalignment in the TMJ and malocclusion and all of these things contribute to dystonia and give it its particular flavor and its particular asymmetrical pattern, right? So if my jaw is misaligned in such a way that my condyle on the right side, let's say, is jammed further into the temporomandibular joint than the condyle on the left temporomandibular joint, then I'm going to have more pressure here. I'm going to be clenching more. These cranial nerves are going to be stimulated more. That is true, and it is important to keep that in mind. And it's not the end of the story. There are plenty of people that have TMJ misalignment, that have TMJ joints that click, that have malocclusion, and don't have dystonia, right? So the TMJ misalignment in and of itself does not explain dystonia. It does not explain neurological symptoms that extend throughout the body and that often lead to symptoms that are much broader than what we can pinpoint in terms of physical muscles, right? So anxiety and constant tension and racing thoughts and difficulty focusing and autonomic dysregulation, right? Where we are really hot at times or freezing at others. Our heart rate is all over the place and so on. What we need to understand is that TMJ misalignment is an issue once there is chronic dysregulation of the nervous system to begin with, right? So TMJ misalignment is something that can emerge over time and can become an issue where there is evident misalignment in the body if the substrate, the nervous system that kind of has developed, is already chronically dysregulated, right? What do I mean by chronically dysregulated? Well, we are supposed, right, if we are doing well, to live between two bands, let's say, within a certain window of tolerance, a certain window of regulation when it comes to our nervous system. We are supposed to be able to get into sympathetic activation and rest and digest in parasympathetic states. And we're supposed to be able to have a breathing rhythm of the two, right? And this breathing rhythm is supposed to happen within this window of regulation. And when we have been through trauma, when we are dealing with patterns that we have adopted as children to meet our fundamental needs, right? For safety, for attunement, for, you know, a sense of self-worth and self-esteem, when in order to meet our fundamental psychological needs, we have learned to stay dysregulated, right? We have learned to really be fighting for our safety, fighting to feel that we are good enough, right? Working ourselves to the bone or what have you. When we have learned to do those things, then instead of living in the window of regulation, we begin to spike, right? One way or the other, or to live just outside of that window of regulation, sometimes permanently. And this is important, right? Because this means that the nervous system doesn't really know how to stay in that breathing rhythm. It doesn't remember often what that even looks like. And so that is expressed somatically, right? It is expressed in the body as chronic tension. It is expressed as pain, as headaches, as spasms, as dystonia. And that really is what opens the door then to that chronic tension being mapped onto asymmetries and imbalances that we have in the body, including the TMJ, right? So if I'm chronically tense and I don't have an asymmetry in my TMJ, then, you know, I might get tension in my shoulders, in my neck, and it may look, you know, tense, but pretty symmetrical. If I add onto that chronic tension that TMJ, then TMJ imbalance, right? Then, as we were saying earlier, one side is pulling more than the other. And then I find myself more tense on one side than the other, pulled towards that side. But again, the TMJ in and of itself is not what is directly causing this, right? There is that chronic dysregulation, there is the anatomical imbalance, and then very often there is an event that unleashes the dystonia, right? a very difficult event in our life, like a divorce or a loss or a change in financial circumstances, that kind of thing. And those events can really throw the nervous system over the edge. And then all the things that were challenging the nervous system to really kind of keep it together, right? Despite the chronic tension, despite the asymmetry and so on, all of those things just become too much. And then we begin to see the symptoms. And so what do we do about this? Do we not take care of the TMJ imbalance? Do we, only focus on that? Do we only focus on taking care of that breathing rhythm of sympathetic and parasympathetic within the window of tolerance? What do we do about this? Well, in the academy, and that is, the approach that has helped hundreds of people, including myself, get my life back and get their lives back. What we do is we take care of everything, right? And we help each aspect really inform and support the other. And so once we gain awareness, for example, of the balance of the TMJ and what it actually needs to be for the nervous system to be able to exhale, once we develop that awareness and we can give initial support at the very least for the TMJ joints to be more balanced, then it becomes easier to work, for example, with chronic stress that we carry, right? Because there isn't something in our cranial nerves that is sending a signal to the brainstem all the time saying, I feel off, I don't know where the right side is and the left side is, and I don't know which side to favor, and I can't find the middle, and so on. And so having greater balance in the TMJ joints can help the system kind of relax. And at the same time, when we begin to notice the patterns of chronic dysregulation that we're in, the ways in which we have learned to stress ourselves out in order to feel that we are good people or feel that we are safe, right? By taking care of how everyone else is feeling and neglecting ourselves. Once we begin to learn the patterns within us that keep us dysregulated, we can begin to bring love to the parts of us that are hurting. And once we bring love to those parts, they begin to be able to shift, right? And then the work that we do with the TMJ, the appliances that we use and so on, actually have a chance to work, right? Because we actually give the nervous system a chance to let go of the chronic dysregulation and the chronic bracing and guarding. And really, for neuroplasticity to happen, for the brain to be able to learn, we can't be stuck in a survival state. And when we are, that's a very big challenge for the brain to be able to let go of the way it has done things for a while and try on something new, right? So if you check out the testimonials on Hope for Dystonia on the website, you'll see that people say things like, this has genuinely saved my life, or my blepharospasm is gone, or, I've made more progress in 2 months with Hope for Dystonia than I have in 2 years by myself. These are real testimonials by real people whose lives were changed because of this approach that is centered around awareness and around really allowing the body to let go of dystonia in the first place. And so if this speaks to you, the first step is to really click on that link in the description below and watch the free Dystonia Recovery Kit course. It's just a few videos, and it will really make a difference in how you understand the condition and the power that you have. It'll help you understand that it's there, right? You can do this. Again, as I said in the beginning, I got my life back, and so can you.